Hello out there YouTube, welcome back to my channel, Pollock's World of Entertainment. In this video I'm going to be talking about the Steelers and losing to the San Francisco 49ers. It was a good game. A loss is still a loss, but it was a good game. There were positives to take out of the game. Through most of the game, the defense played well. The defense generated a lot of turnovers. The offense could not get in sync, and you have Mason Rudolph at quarterback now. And I know I did say this in my last video, and yes, Mason Rudolph had finally was practicing with the first team and get all the reps in practice. However, this is also the first time that a team was practicing to play against him. That changes everything as well. When he came into the game last week, he was coming in relief of Ben Roethlisberger, and this was with the game already underway, and so the opposing team was planning for Ben Roethlisberger and for the Steelers. This time the 49ers came in with the game plan against Mason Rudolph, and that does make a difference. However, I mean, in the long run, I'm sure Mason Rudolph will get better, and hopefully it doesn't take all that long. But keep in mind, this is Mason Rudolph. This is not Ben Roethlisberger, and there are no guarantees with Mason Rudolph. Ben Roethlisberger, when he first came into the league and he started partway into his rookie season, he became the starter. He had a veteran cast around him. He had a team that had underachieved the previous season and were drafting in a place where they shouldn't have been drafting when they got him, when they were lucky enough to get him. The team had talent, and so therefore they went on to go 15-1 and made it to the AFC Championship game. This is a much different story with Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph is becoming a starter in his second season in the NFL, but it still was only his first action, in a game. And it'll take time. It's going to take time for the team to adapt to him. Then on top of that, they have a lot more young players than what Ben was around when he first came into the league. You don't know where things will go with Mason Rudolph. You certainly hope he is the quarterback of the future. Is he ready to take over the reins now? That remains to be seen. I know that Ben has stated that he does plan on coming back next year, and he plans on being 100% healthy and continue playing. And there are two sides to that. First, it could be, if he can still play at a very high level and his health is there, if he is 100% healthy and not at all injured, then great. But a year is a year, and that's quite a while, and a lot can change over the course of a year. By the time, you know, training camp rolls around for next year, which is when he would finally be getting back into game shape, and he it's at this point it really is a coin toss, um, because so much can happen over the course of a year, and I would certainly like to see him come back, especially at this point. I don't. It doesn't. We'll see about Mason Rudolph. It's a long season, and we'll see where the team finishes, and we'll see where they. I know I originally stated 11-5. Obviously, a lot changed since I made that prediction, and yeah, that's so the 11-5 is that's probably not happening, but we'll see how they go. We'll see how the team finishes, and it's probably going to be more important to how the team does in the second half of the season, even if they don't make the playoffs. Then that's just the big key. How the second half of the season on, if they are showing improvement, then well, we can have some hope for next year. I'm not so sure about. Not basically losing their number one draft pick for next year. That, although to be honest, through most of the game, the defense looked good. But I hate not having a number one draft pick for 2020, especially if the team ends up not doing well. If Mason Rudolph does not look good throughout the rest of the season and doesn't show much in terms of improvement. That's the whole key, is improvement. Even if they don't make the playoffs, if the second half of the season is considered to be better than the first, then they definitely have something to build on. If it's not, if you're not seeing much improvement in Mason Rudolph, then that would be a big problem. Then we had better hope that Ben does come back for next year. I'm hopeful that Mason Rudolph will improve, and as time goes along, then he will go into the starting quarterback. Not to say that he's going to be taking the job from Ben now, but I'd hate to have to draft another quarterback in a first round. That's where you can get caught up in a bad situation like what the Cleveland Browns had when they went for so long with losing. And if Mason Rudolph turns out not to be the answer as far as the starting quarterback goes, the Steelers could be in for some very rough years coming up down the road, especially if Ben is not either willing or able to come back next year. I hope he is, and I hope Mason Rudolph is and ends up being the answer, even if he's not going to be taking the role permanently at this point. I do hope he ends up being the answer, because if he's not, you don't know how many more years Ben will go, but there could be some very rough years ahead for the Steelers. I hope that's not the case. I hope Mason Rudolph is the answer. I hope Ben does come back, and at least then you have the option. Have a quarterback controversy would be a great situation for the Steelers to be in going into next season. That if there is one, that would mean that Mason Rudolph was doing very well, and that Ben Roethlisberger is looking to come back and is able to come back, and that would be a great situation to be in. It would be a difficult situation. That's a difficult decision to make, but that's a nice situation to be in. That gives you basically then you have options. You know that your present day is secure and your future is secure as well. So that that really sums it up. Um, I mean, defensively, again, throughout most of the game, they looked pretty good. They did generate a lot of turnovers, and so that turnovers goes both ways. That, I mean, for a turnover to occur, the offense has to give the ball up, and of course, also a defensive player can basically force that. So, but yeah, it was that the generating of turnovers by the defense was encouraging, and I think Mason Rudolph will improve as the season goes along. So, in spite of how it looks at 0-3, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there's no hope, because actually I feel like there is. Not to say that they're going to make the playoffs, but at least they could salvage the season into eventually they could end up salvaging the season into something respectable, even if they don't actually make the playoffs. If they finish strong, that potential is still there. So, anyways, please hit the like and the subscribe buttons. They definitely help me out. I definitely need subscribers, and so if you could refer anybody to me, that would be much appreciated. But that'll do it for this video. And again, please hit the like and the subscribe button, and everybody have a wonderful evening.